Hey everyone, it's Terry with the Des Moines, Iowa user group. And today in our user group, we had Sam Broda speak to us, and he shared the application that they have built called Match My Email. First time I've seen this app, I'd not even heard that it existed before. It's pretty cool. I think you'll like it. Take a listen.
Great. Thanks. Thanks, Carla. And just big thanks to Terry and Carla both for having me and allowing me to present. I was saying I wish I could be, in person and visiting Iowa. I'm calling from just a little north of New York City right now, but one day, once it all passes, I think we're getting closer. So, and then I didn't answer any of the questions. I don't think you'll hear plenty of me talking right now, but I'm not going to Mars. I'm skipping out on it for now. All right, I will share my screen and dive in. I got a deck for everyone. The subject of the presentation is I'm going to be touching on Match My Email. That's the ISV app I work at, but I'm going to be speaking more on Einstein Activity Capture, at least for the first half of the presentation. This is
I don't know what it's doing, and I realized I got to come over and.
Sorry, and let me present, but you guys can see the screen all right? Okay. So be focusing on EAC for the majority of the presentation, and then discussing how Match My Email stacks up against Einstein towards the end. But to give an overview, Salesforce offers a suite of different email, mailbox, and sync and stream or capture apps. They divide it really into two spaces: the mailbox integration, which is your Outlook or Gmail integrations. Those are free. And then Salesforce Inbox, which is a paid license. The differentiator of those integrations are that in your email client, so whether you're using Outlook or Gmail, you have a side panel. You receive a window into Salesforce from within your email. And you can manually upload emails in this way, create new contacts, or do a slew of other features, depending on whether you're paying or whether you're using the free integration. And then in the sync and stream / capture, this is the more automated space. So Salesforce has a product, Lightning Sync, which I won't be discussing, and I'll talk about that in just a second. And then they have EAC. They have two versions of Einstein. You have EAC Standard, which is a free tool, I believe, for the first 200 users. And they have a EAC license version, which comes with a Salesforce Inbox license and costs the same as Inbox would cost you. 100 licenses free, sorry, not the 200. Why I won't be discussing Lightning Sync. In the Winter 21 release, they're no longer offering Lightning Sync to new Salesforce customers. So the strategy here, from what I've gleaned, is Salesforce is phasing out the other products that have been on the email market and part of their suite in favor of Einstein. They're transitioning over to Einstein as their main way to capture emails and events in Salesforce automatically. Also, I know a little less about the plugins, the integrations of Outlook and Gmail, as well as Inbox, just based off of how Match My Email is in the marketplace. So I've focused on Einstein, so I can speak a little bit more intelligently on that for you all. All right, so with the focus on Einstein, give an overview of how it actually functions. Einstein is going to integrate with your email server, whether you're on Google Workspace, it's called now, or 365, or an Exchange server. They'll be able to integrate with those three. The data flows directly to EAC's AWS servers and then creates virtual links to your Salesforce server to show that data. But it's actually housing the email data and the calendar event data on an EAC AWS database, which is quite important when it comes to wanting to run reports, data retention, and the like. With data retention, if you're using the non-paid EAC version, it's going to be visible in your Salesforce org for 6 months. If you're using the paid version, that increases to 2 years. After that 6-month period or 2-year period, emails or calendar events that you had in Salesforce are erased off of the AWS database and are no longer visible. Another very important small tidbit is if you're using EAC and if somebody leaves your company and you have to get rid of their Salesforce license, those emails that person has uploaded and would be visible are no longer visible. When you get rid of the Salesforce license, their EAC license also goes with it. And then reporting, I'll get into a bit later. Here we are, reporting. So EAC offers Einstein activity metrics as their kind of cover up, because the data, since it's not in Salesforce, you can't run your native Salesforce reports with the data. So they do offer those paid users a way to, and the unpaid users, a way to capture some of that analytic data and report on it. However, in the EAC metrics, they're only looking back 90 days for the standard users and only 180 days for the licensed users. They have a limited number of filters. As I assume most of you are quite familiar with Salesforce reporting, you can basically manipulate your data and report on it in whichever way you're trying to. With EAC, you can only do it on these 3 different categories up here based off of who owns the event or the email, the activity type, and then the date. These are quite stagnant. You can't change these reports. What you see is what you get. The interface is pretty straightforward. If you have enhanced email turned on in Salesforce Lightning, they're going to upload your emails to the activity timeline. In Classic, I believe you would be able to see those on the activity history, but I'll focus on Lightning for now since they're pushing everybody to Lightning, and I assume most people are on Lightning these days. Maybe not all. Some people at Match My Email even still use Classic, the holdouts, but for this case, enhanced email and the screenshot on the right that you see, that's in Lightning on the activity timeline. So that couples emails with tasks that you've logged, the events that are uploaded, and any logged calls you might have made as well. Big knock against EAC also is that they cannot upload attachments to emails, nor any images that may be inline images on the email. So only everything's converted to plain text, and that's what you see when you click that drop down and want to view an email. The activity timeline has a number of restrictions to it that we've learned plenty about as we have mirrored this in a way, but you can only match emails to one what ID record when you're uploading as an enhanced email. With Einstein, you can match it to multiple who records, so that's an unlimited amount of leads or contacts. However, only one what record. So if you want to match it to a contacts account and also an opportunity that they may be a related contact roll on, that's an open opportunity, you can't match to both. And then also not yet compatible with iOS or Android apps. So that is a drawback. Setting up EAC is, you can do it in a number of different ways depending on where your email is hosted. There's a user level setup. It'll push your users to go through this authentication wizard. I've heard multiple comments on it. Sometimes if you have people that aren't super knowledgeable about Salesforce, it can be a challenge to get people set up when they have to go through the wizard themselves. But they also offer an org level setup. So if you're hosted on 365, it's possible to have an admin of your Salesforce org coordinate with your Microsoft 365 global admin to get set up. And that uses OAuth 2.0 authentication. And then there's a service account, which I can't speak a ton about. I'm not too familiar with, but I know that it is out there as an option. And now sort of transitioning into Match My Email and our app. With getting set up, again, we can take both a user level or an org level approach. Most people these days, if you're using 365 or Google Workspace, go with the org level approach where on our backend, which I'll start to jump in between a demo server or a demo org and the presentation, but it can all be done on the backend. So I'll show you that in just a second. But we have a Match My Email control panel where it makes life easy for an admin to deactivate or activate users. Another nice thing about getting set up with Match My Email is we can integrate with any email server. So while the majority of people still use or are using or hosted on Google Workspace or 365, if you're hosted on GoDaddy or Rackspace or one of these other email providers, we can integrate using IMAP protocol. All right, so centralized user activation, we can jump into the Match My Email dashboard here in Salesforce. It's another nice feature. Einstein, everything is happening automatically in the background, but they don't have any way to show the end user which emails they've processed, which emails have actually been uploaded to Salesforce, which events have been uploaded to Salesforce. So it's sort of hidden, and you just have to go into a record to see whether or not an email has been uploaded to Salesforce. Which can leave people guessing, and it turns into a did it happen? Not quite sure. So sorry. The sometimes lightning can be a bit of a misnomer in Salesforce. I've had this uploaded for a minute too. Maybe I signed out. That's one of the I think the biggest drawbacks of Lightning versus Classic is that it takes just a little longer for everything to upload. All right, so here's our dashboard, which users can actually see the emails that we've processed and whether or not they've been uploaded to Salesforce. With both Einstein and Match My Email, the two apps are processing all of the emails that are coming into a user's inbox or sent items folder, their email, so to capture all outbound and inbound. With both apps, while everything is being processed, not every email is being matched and uploaded to Salesforce. So in our end, you can see we've processed these emails, but if it has this no match status, it means that the email was processed, but there were no attributes found in the email to upload it to Salesforce. And the same goes for Einstein in that, right? All right, the control panel that I was speaking on before I went off on a bit of a tangent. This just centrally boils down administration. So if you're a Salesforce admin of your org, you also have Match My Email admin permissions. And when you download the managed package, you'll get a list of your licensed users and then easily be able to activate or deactivate users on that side. So, things are moving a little slow today. Here we are. And so you'll see a list of all your licensed users, and it's just as simple as activating an import here. If you click in, you can see your imports per user. And a nice feature is that you can actually see, whether or not you have calendar imports or email imports. And you can create multiple email addresses for one licensed user. So this can be handy if you're using a sales address or an info address or the like. Uploading emails, we do it in the same way Salesforce does as an enhanced email, but we can also do it as a custom object. So let me show you an enhanced email quickly. And then also I have I wish I was able to, as I said, see you all in person. And normally it sounds like sponsors get people offer food at these events. So in lieu of that, I'd like to offer a $20 DoorDash gift card to those present. So I'll, in this email, got a surprise. I'll throw that in the chat group. So please feel free to put in your info and I'll send those out. And I'm having a bit of trouble finding the chat group in what I can see from Zoom right now.
It's hard to do it while you're presenting, I feel like.
Yeah, here you go. Okay, cool. Yeah, so here's that enhanced email I was speaking about. This is what it would look like with both Einstein and Match My Email if you choose to go the enhanced email route. But we do offer a alternative, which is our custom object, which breaks out email onto a separate timeline in Salesforce and has a bit of a different user interface. The reason we created this was to break free of those restrictions on the activity timeline, so you can match to multiple objects in multiple what ID objects. And as well, over time, we just, using customer feedback, changed the look of what an enhanced email is. So you can see if you hover over the subject, you get the body of the email. We do bring in attachments, which is nice. And then one important thing I think worth mentioning is with Einstein, you're restricted to matching based off of the email addresses in the to, from, CC, and BCC fields of an email. And they match that to the email field on a leader contact. Match My Email is much more customizable in that you can create custom fields like an email 2 field or an email 3 field, and then we'll add some custom scripting on our back end and allow you to match emails to a leader contact if you have multiple emails in those custom fields. All of this is reportable on in Salesforce, which I'll show you in just a second. So running reports with email data, people want to be able to customize the report to how they like it. I use the example, I'm based in New York. If you want to know how many emails are being sent or received in conjunction with how many meetings you've logged for accounts only in the tri-state area, that's not something you can do with Einstein activity metrics, right? You're just kind of isolated to the reports that they give you. But with Salesforce reports, you can report by account and use filters to set up exactly the report that you really want to run. So here's a good example of an account-centric report with calls, email, events. And then you also have like a last activity where you see maybe a sales manager wants to get an understanding of what their reps are sending, receiving, and it's all reportable on in Salesforce. So no need to, it's kind of a strange thing that Salesforce would create Einstein activity metrics when they have such a potent reporting tool, but without that email data being uploaded to Salesforce, it's not possible. I showed already the dashboard, but again, this dashboard can be quite helpful, and there's a number of ways you can play with this dashboard. If you wanted to only filter based off of no match emails, so emails we've processed but didn't upload to Salesforce because we didn't find a leader contact to match it to, that's more than possible. So just another tool for somebody to use in Salesforce. And at the end of the day, I think our application is, with Einstein as well, it just enables people to adopt Salesforce. When you have a clear timeline, a reliable timeline of the emails sent and received to leads or contacts, your end users start to trust Salesforce and go to it as a store of record rather than a stagnant CRM that you can't really be sure if that's the most up-to-date information. So that's a big pro for the sync and stream or capture apps like EAC and MME versus your Salesforce inbox or your free integrations. Customization. I picked off on a Salesforce presentation once that it's possible. People I've spoken to have told me Salesforce reps said it wasn't possible, but either way, you're going to have to pay a pretty penny to customize email matching using Einstein. Match My Email, it's very possible. I had mentioned the custom scripting we can do to email 2 or email 3 custom fields. I can go in much more depth about other ways that we can match. We can match off subject words. We can match to any custom objects. And this all comes with a cost of subscription. As long as you have a logic into how you'd want emails to relate to objects, it's most likely possible. And really, I'm excited to see what Terry has to speak about with the flows and automation, because when we do upload either as our custom object or as an enhanced email on the activity timeline, since the data is in Salesforce, you can now start to run all of these automations using Process Builder off of our object or an email message. So I have much to learn on that front, and I'm looking forward to learning a little bit after this. So if you're interested, you can visit our website, you can reach out. I'll be sending over those DoorDash gift cards, so you'll hear from me soon enough. But hope you all enjoyed it and learned a little bit about something you may not have known about prior. I'm looking forward to learning more. So thanks again. Are any questions? I'd open it up to the field, see if people.
I have a question, Sam. I'm a bit concerned because our org does use Lightning Sync, and to see that it's going away is very sad. Do you happen to have any detailed documentation? Your slides are very much appreciated, like as to the limitations of, Lightning Sync versus Einstein activity capture, but do you have something that's a bit more detailed that I could go through?
I would only be able to refer you to what I found off of Salesforce's sites.
Okay.
So I don't have anything in much more detail. I have one presentation that I can send over, though, that may have some information that's not on a Salesforce site.
That's helpful. Thank you.
Yeah. So let me think. I guess
Sam,
I'll look for your email, Brittany, and reach out.
I was going to say, if you want to send that, just send those over to me, Sam. We can get it uploaded to either Carla or I. We could get it uploaded to the community site too.
Okay.
Happy to share it that way.
Yeah.
Will do.
Boone, you have a question?
Yeah, I was curious. You're doing calendar syncing. You didn't talk much about that, but I was just curious. Do you sync back to the from Salesforce to the email server, calendar server?
Right now, only unidirectional. So it works
only to Salesforce.
Right, exactly. So if you have an event in Gmail or Outlook, we'll process it the same way we do emails, and if it finds a match, it'll be uploaded to that record.
Yeah, we're looking. We have a tool right now that does pretty much the email and the calendar sync, but the one nice thing about that is it goes from Salesforce back to Outlook, because our company uses Outlook for all the calendar stuff.
Sure.
And that is one feature. I am looking to replace our current tool, and this is the one thing that I'd like to be able to find. So.
Yeah, it's interesting you bring that up, because yesterday I spoke with somebody who asked for the same, and it was the first time I had heard it. So now you're the second, and starting to build a critical mass of people asking for the bi-directional sync. So good to know.
Yeah, I signed up for the DoorDash thing, so feel free to reach out to me and ask me more questions about that, and I'll give you more reasons on why we want to do that.
Okay, sounds good, Boone.
Anybody else have any other questions? I'm checking the chat. Looks like Karen put in a link to a Salesforce article. Is that about the differences in the sync and EAC?
It was just about the end of life for Lightning Sync.
Oh, end of life. Okay, cool. Thank you for putting that in there. Angela, you got a question?
Yeah, a quick question is about, you're talking about everything like audit, like automatic syncing and stuff like that. Do you have anything that is more like on the manual sync side, where we're picking and choosing the individual emails and calendar events that we want to send in? We don't send all of our emails into Salesforce, so it's more manual, like what we want to do.
Yeah, we do have a way that we can offer a manual sync. What it entails is adding a folder in your email, like a Salesforce folder, and just copying emails into that folder. And on our back end in that control panel, we can select only processing from the Salesforce folder rather than your inbox and your sent items folders as well. So users can just drag and drop emails into the Salesforce folder, and then that's all they'll have to do. We'll automatically process those emails from there.
And so does it allow you to cross-post these emails through different like related items? So like to an opportunity or to an account or whatnot?
Yes, and so I went over those two different ways we upload. If you're uploading as our custom object, you can match to multiple WhatID records. So the email will be shown on the account, the opportunity, maybe a custom object. If it's as an enhanced email, when you're uploading to the Salesforce activity timeline, we can only match to one what ID. So you choose either an account or an opportunity.
Okay, thank you.